I am the true heiress who was lost outside. When my biological parents found me with the girl who had taken my place for 17 years, I was dressed in a spicy outfit, screaming my lungs out and shaking my head wildly as part of the bar's hype team, their eyes filled with complex emotions as they instinctively tightened their embrace around the quiet, beautiful girl beside them. Just half an hour ago, I was still a wild little hype girl, struggling to make a living in the bar. Half an hour later, I became the true heiress of Albert Brown, the wealthiest man in the city, who had been mistakenly switched at birth. In the VIP lounge, 4 people sat stiffly, surrounding a quiet and beautiful girl who looked like a princess at the center. The elegant woman, her eyes brimming with tears, struggled to hold back her sobs as she cautiously asked, "Are you Bella Campbell, 17 years old, living in Moontown?" I spat out the gum in my mouth and let out a loud, "Yep," which sounded like a duck's quack in the solemn silence of the lounge. I shouted too hard tonight and lost my voice. "I'll have to ask the director for a raise." The woman could no longer hold back her emotions. She suddenly pulled me into her arms and burst into tears. "My poor daughter has suffered so much. I'm your mother, your birth mother. I'll never lose you again." I was a bit flustered, looking past her with confusion as the composed, mature man behind her took off his glasses and wiped the corners of his eyes. I clenched my fists, letting the woman hug me and cry. A young man walked over, helped the woman up, looked me up and down with displeasure in his eyes, but still pulled us to sit on the sofa. He told me he was my biological brother, Charles, no doubt. The other man was my wealthy father. The girl at the center of their attention took a big step back when she saw me approaching, covering her nose and mouth. I narrowed my eyes and slightly furrowed my brows. My wealthy father hurriedly whispered something to her in a low voice. The woman who had been crying sorrowfully just moments ago released my hand, turned around, and hugged the girl with concern, saying to me, "Luna is allergic to alcohol. Bella, did you drink something?" I shook my head. Perhaps I had a bit of alcohol on me. My dear brother immediately grabbed me and pushed me toward the door as if shooing away the plague. "Bella Campbell, you're still a student. From now on, you're not allowed to dress like a hostess, and you mustn't have any alcohol on you. It'll harm Luna." I slapped his hand away, stared at Luna, and asked in a hoarse voice, "So, she's the fake princess who's been enjoying 17 years of wealth and luxury in my place?" The Brown family members were stunned by these words, their expressions shifting from shock to guilt. Luna, in particular, kept her eyes downcast and remained silent. My wealthy father immediately explained, "This has nothing to do with Luna. The blame lies solely with your adoptive mother, the maternity hospital worker back then, who was ungrateful and malicious. She took advantage of our carelessness to switch you, who came from a privileged background, with Luna." Hearing her biological mother being disparaged like this by the wealthy father, Luna bit her lip, her face flushed with shame, as 2 streams of silent tears rolled down her cheeks. "Dad." Charles gave him a meaningful look, and the wealthy father, realizing his slip of the tongue, immediately fell silent. Luna twisted her hands together, nervously raising her face with eyes brimming with tears, and cautiously asked, "Mom and Dad, now that you've found my sister, will you still want me?" My birth mother hugged her tenderly, comforting her like a child with gentle words. "What nonsense are you talking about? Luna is so well behaved. You'll always be Mom and Dad's little sweetheart. And also the little follower your brother dotes on the most," Charles added, ruffling her hair. Luna wiped away her tears, nestled in my birth mother's arms, her eyes crinkling with laughter. "What a harmonious family they are. It seems I've always been the extra one here, but after all these years, I don't really care anymore." Luna raised the corner of her eye, her gaze landing right on me, smug and slightly provocative. "Heh, interesting. It's the exact same look as her biological mother's." They were about to take me home tonight when the supervisor, who had been lingering by the door watching the drama, came over and handed me a bottle of water. "My golden thigh, the richest man is your dad. Ah, but why do you look so unhappy?" I gulped down several big mouthfuls of water to moisten my parched throat, answering irrelevantly, "Hey, director, can you settle today's wages for me?" The director's eyes widened like copper bells. "You're already the heiress of the richest family, and you still care about these peanuts?" I spread my palm flat and grinned at him with a slight smile. Why shouldn't I take what I rightfully earned? I was about to head to the dressing room when Charles dragged me straight into the van. "This hot girl outfit was borrowed from the DJ girl, and I promised to return it tonight." "Whatever, my throat hurts. I don't feel like explaining." My birth parents and brother surrounded Luna like she was an endangered species. Sitting as far away from me as possible, I just glanced at it before turning my head to look out the window, exuding an air of cold arrogance. My biological mother smiled awkwardly and comforted, "Bella, your sister is allergic to alcohol. Our family hasn't touched a drop of alcohol since she was born. Please don't take it to heart." I cleared my throat and said nonchalantly, "Hothouse flowers are so delicate, aren't they? Not like me, growing up like a wild child. Even if I broke my leg, no one would care. The only reasons I've survived till now are my tough fate and sheer luck, having met someone as kind as Grandma Lucy, lucky, found by a wealthy family. Isn't that good? Ah, what a fucking miserable life." I let out a helpless bitter laugh, and everyone fell silent. Luna, who was under special care, spoke up with a choked voice, "Sister Bella, I'm sorry, it's all my fault you've suffered so much." Sobs. "Why are you crying again? Are those two dark holes on her face like springs?" I yanked off the pink wig and roughly tousled my short bob, saying impatiently, "Come on, don't cry like your mother just died. People might think you're the one who suffered. Do you think shedding a few crocodile tears can make up for your mother's 17 years of sins? If you want to apologize, show some sincerity. I won't ask for much. How about you go live with your biological mother for a year, stay with her for a year, and I'll forgive you immediately." Luna immediately stifled her sobs, her body trembling uncontrollably as she clutched my parents' hands and shook her head desperately. My wealthy father helplessly pinched the bridge of his nose. My biological mother patted Luna's back to comfort her. And after a long pause, she finally spoke, "We will spare no effort to make up for what we owe you, Bella, but Luna had nothing to do with the mix-up at birth. We hope you won't take your anger out on her. Luna is gentle by nature, pure-hearted and kind. Her apology to you is absolutely sincere. Could you, for the sake of Mom and Dad, not be angry with her? She will be a good sister to you." I widened my eyes in disbelief. Did I ask to be angry with her? She's the one acting all fake and begging to be scolded. Okay. My biological brother, who had never quite taken a liking to me, took 2 deep breaths, put down the phone he had been fiddling with since getting in the car, and looked at me seriously. "Bella, watch your language. We're all very happy about your return to the family. We can all get along harmoniously, and I believe you can too. From now on, please stop targeting Luna. Okay, also, you should stop going to those chaotic places like nightclubs and bars. Our parents are people of status, and now that you're the heiress of the Brown family, you should act accordingly. Take Luna as an example. Learn painting, play the piano, and attend gatherings with successful people often. It will greatly benefit your future. Luna excels in every aspect. You can always seek her advice whenever you don't understand something." My biological parents nodded along as they listened, smiling at Luna as if she were the pride of the Brown family, and the pride of the Brown family, after just a few compliments, quickly forgot her earlier displeasure. With wide, innocent eyes, she shamelessly lectured me, "Sister, Big Brother only says these things for your own good. Bars are filled with smoke and chaos. They're not places for decent people. If you want to listen to music, I can play the piano for you. The music in bars is just noisy and vulgar. It'll lower your standards." On the surface, the words seem sincere and well-intentioned for my sake, but secretly they're just mocking me for not being a decent person, calling me vulgar too. "You don't really think I'm here to listen to music and dance, do you? Truly, the princess knows nothing of the hardships of the world." I slapped the 130 yuan I just earned onto the armrest of the sofa seat. If only your mother had shown me a little mercy. A minor like me wouldn't have to work in a place like this in the dead of night. After saying that, I picked up the money and stuffed it back into my pocket, sneering, "This is my living expenses for a whole week. If I don't hide it well, that crazy woman will snatch it away again." Luna's face turned pale, her haughty demeanor completely gone, and everyone fell silent. I curled my lips disdainfully, as if they were the only ones with mouths. I can endure the hardships of life, but I must return every unwarranted humiliation, especially to those white lotuses who shamelessly occupy others' nests without a clue. The Brown family truly lives up to their status as the wealthiest, residing in a 4-story mansion as grand as a palace. But for me, it's just a place to sleep. The housekeeper had already prepared my room in advance. Exhausted, I washed up and immediately fell asleep. I slept straight through until broad daylight. Oh no, I'm going to be late for school. I threw on my school uniform, grabbed my backpack, and flung the door open as I dashed out. With just 2 steps, I leaped down the stairs from the second floor with a flourish, startling the housekeeper so badly she nearly jumped out of her skin. "Bella, come have breakfast." I abruptly stopped in my tracks, striking a pose like the ancient Greek statue of the discus thrower. The entire family in the dining room turned to look at me in unison, their expressions indescribable. Let's just say it was complicated. Oh, I straightened up, my energy instantly deflated, and shuffled over unsteadily, a square table with each of them occupying one side. The nanny hurriedly brought over a stool but didn't know where to place it. Luna, sensible and polite, said, "Auntie, just put it between me and Mom." My birth mother gave her an approving glance, while my wealthy father and Charles nodded in satisfaction. Luna also set up a dinner plate for me, filled with a Western-style breakfast I had never eaten before. "Sister, Mom made all these dishes for you herself. Eat more. You probably don't get to enjoy such things often." I slumped back in my chair and raised my hand. "Auntie, could you pass me a pair of chopsticks, please?" "Thanks." Then I turned to Luna and said, "Yeah, your birth mother was glued to the mahjong table all day, beating and scolding me. I've begged for food, fed pigs, and grew up on the kindness of strangers. It's a miracle I didn't starve to death." Luna bit her lip, shooting me a venomous glare. I noticed that whenever I mention Luna's birth mother, she shuts up real quick. "Little brat, trying to throw shade at me. Just wait till I make you squirm." Meanwhile, I caught a flicker of pity in my birth mother's eyes as she handed me a bank card and a new phone. "Bella, there's 100,000 in this card. Your allowance for the month. The phone has all our family's contacts saved, so you can reach us anytime." I nodded and tucked both the card and phone into my backpack. My wealthy father then proceeded to announce 3 matters as if holding a meeting, which essentially boiled down to changing my name, transferring schools, and hosting a banquet to celebrate my homecoming. The new name they gave me, Heidi Brown. They hope my future days will be peaceful and smooth, with an open mind that embraces others. I agreed to everything else, but I refused to transfer schools. With the college entrance exams approaching soon, changing schools would greatly affect me. "Are you afraid you won't be able to keep up with the studies after transferring to a prestigious school?" "Don't worry, I'm the top student in my grade. I can tutor you." I focused on eating and ignored her. The new home was too far from school, and I didn't have time to waste on her, but I made a mental note of her kindness. They arranged a dedicated driver to take me to and from school. I don't know who spread the news that I'm the daughter of the wealthiest family, but my classmates' eyes are sparkling when they look at me. "Bella, you're so lucky. Not only are you smart, but you also have such rich parents." "Bella, remember your old friends when you're rich. Quick, let me copy your homework." "Bella, are you going to leave here? Will we never see you again?" I helplessly flicked away the little heads one by one. "Don't worry, I'll be here until the college entrance exams. If I leave, it'll only be for university." That home wasn't as good as I'd hoped. The class bell rang. Today was the second provincial joint exam, and I had to give it even more effort than before. This was the moment in my defeated life that I could be most proud of. After school, the driver took me back to my hometown and waited in the distance. The room echoed with the clattering sounds of mahjong tiles colliding, mixed with the clamor of men and women cursing and shouting. Through the window crack, I saw Daisy Campbell with a cigarette dangling from her lips, her plump, sagging face clouded with gloom, her narrow, upturned eyes fixed intently on the table, exhaling smoke. She deftly drew a tile and then slammed it onto the table, cursing loudly with spittle flying everywhere. Utterly disgusting. I turned and headed next door to Grandma Lucy's house. Grandma Lucy was widowed young, never remarried, nor had children of her own, and treated me like her own granddaughter. When I was little and Daisy Campbell wouldn't feed me, it was Grandma Lucy who saved more than half her bowl of rice from her already meager life to give to me. I stubbornly refused to accept it, so she made me help her feed the pigs in exchange. Feeding the pigs once could earn me more than half a bowl of plain rice. It was the happiest thing in my childhood. Later, Grandma Lucy took me to collect scrap and recyclables, teaching me which recycling station would pay 2 extra cents per pound. Daisy Campbell would take out her frustration on me whenever she lost at cards, hitting me hard and mercilessly. When I was 12, I followed her into the city, but she caught me and broke my leg with a thick wooden rod. Then she walked away without a second thought and went back to playing mahjong. It was Grandma Lucy who took all the savings she had scraped together from collecting scraps, carried me on her back for 10 miles to the clinic to treat my leg. Although the leg healed, it left a long, ugly scar, but I didn't care. One more scar on this broken body didn't make much difference, I thought. Living like this with Grandma Lucy for the rest of my life would be a kind of happiness. But Grandma Lucy fell ill recently and needed a lot of money. Staring at my meager savings, I felt resentful and unwilling to accept it, so I struck a deal with a local gang leader to spread the news that I was the Brown family's mistakenly swapped daughter. Whether the Brown family chose to accept me or not, they would give him substantial benefits to save face. Sure enough, just 1 month's allowance of the Brown family's heiress was enough to solve my urgent financial needs. Ignoring Grandma Lucy's objections, I scooped up her emaciated body and carried her toward the driver. I took Grandma Lucy to the hospital and had a nurse help me arrange for a caregiver before returning to the Brown family villa. A grand banquet to celebrate my homecoming was held over the weekend. Apart from the Brown family's relatives and friends, nearly all the prominent figures in the city attended. For a time, the villa was brilliantly lit and bustling with excitement. Luna wore a pristine white haute couture princess dress, chatting merrily with a group of peers her age. On the other hand, chose a black evening gown, wrapping myself up tightly. When my biological mother led me down the spiral staircase, all eyes turned to me. The well-versed socialites couldn't help but praise how strikingly my beauty resembled my mother's. No wonder you're the biological child. The term, biological child, stung Luna deeply, making her feel insecure. All these flatteries used to belong to her. Her gaze turned icy, looking at me as if I were an enemy about to steal all her glory. Our eyes locked in a silent confrontation, neither of us backing down. As soon as she descended the stairs, Luna switched to a meek and obedient expression, gathering her friends around her. Holding my hand, she somewhat humbly introduced me to those wealthy young heirs. The more she lowered her stance, the more those wealthy heirs looked at me with disdain. A girl who had undergone plastic surgery to resemble a Barbie doll chuckled lightly. Luna, is this your country bumpkin sister, dressed so heavily? Isn't she afraid of getting heat rash? The wealthy kids were amused by her remark and burst into laughter as they looked at me. Luna quickly came to my rescue with understanding. Bruce, don't talk about my sister like that. It's her first time attending such a grand banquet. How would she know any better? Oh, that's right. I heard she even fed pigs. Do you think she smells like pig manure? Everyone backed away a meter from me, followed by another round of uproarious laughter. I curled the corner of my lips. Hey, whatever your name is, the plastic-faced girl, who was laughing so hard she nearly toppled over, covered her mouth and looked at me. What? How rude. You really are a country bumpkin from the sticks. I sneered. Your nose is crooked. The plastic surgery enthusiast panicked, hurriedly pressing her nose with her hand to feel it, then took out a mirror to examine it carefully from every angle. When she realized I was teasing her, she flew into a rage and rushed forward to hit me. I rolled my shoulders, tilted my head from side to side, and cracked my knuckles with a series of pops, saying calmly, I didn't say your nose is crooked now, but who knows if it might be later. The plastic surgery face froze in place, not daring to move. Luna stepped in at just the right moment to speak up for me. Don't mind her. My sister grew up in the countryside and has always been wild. She just loves roughhousing and joking around with people. The plastic surgery face clung to Luna's arm again, whining. Luna is so gentle and kind, and her grades are amazing too. She scored 685 in the provincial joint exam, ranking first in the grade and 27th in the province. I wonder what rank your sister got at that no-name high school. Ha ha ha. After saying that, she didn't forget to shoot me a disdainful glance. I clicked my tongue. Why don't you just look it up if you're so curious? The rankings for the provincial joint exam are public. Rich Kid A sneered. I checked the top 100, and there wasn't a single other person with the surname Song. I doubt she'd even make the top 500. Luna lifted her head proudly. Although my sister doesn't do well in school, I promised to tutor her, so stop making fun of her. I kindly reminded her. Oh, my original name is Bella Campbell. Care to take another look? The room fell silent for 2 seconds before the rich kid stuttered in shock. Bella Campbell, the second in the entire province. Luna's smile froze instantly on her face. Disbelieving, she snatched the phone, her breathing growing rapid and her eyes widening involuntarily. I sneered inwardly. What a bunch of fools with their eyes on the tops of their heads. It took Luna quite a while to calm down, her lips twitching slightly as she forced a laugh. Oh my sister here has been hiding quite the act. Ahaha. She then turned to take out a gift box, trying to change the subject, and looked at me with a bright smile. Sister, this is a gift I picked out for you myself. See if you like it. I didn't need to think to know the gift inside wasn't cheap. And it was definitely something I couldn't use. Its only purpose was to humiliate this country bumpkin on occasions like this. So, I didn't take it. I knew Luna's weakness and remembered her last kindness, so I stared at the gift box and politely repaid her. How about giving this gift to your birth mother instead? She could exchange it for money and probably stay at the mahjong parlor for 7 days and 7 nights. Luna's face suddenly flushed red, and tears welled up in her eyes. Sister, I had good intentions. Why are you treating me like this? I raised an eyebrow. Good intentions. How could she even say that with a straight face? Whatever I want, Mom and Dad will naturally give it to me. Your good intentions should be directed at being filial to your birth mother. After all, she schemed so hard to secure this life of luxury for you. Don't be an ungrateful wretch. Now, left with birth mom, and right with birth mom, Luna was so embarrassed she wished she could find a hole to crawl into. A tall, burly guy looked at Luna with heartache in his eyes, stood up, grabbed my collar, and glared down at me. You'd better apologize to Luna, even if you're Uncle Brown's daughter. I won't go easy on you, big guy. You're in such a hurry to defend Luna. Do you have a crush on her? What do you like about her? Her top-notch tea-making skills. Should I go tell my parents and arrange a match for you too? Right now. They'll agree to anything I say. Luna's eyes were wide with fury. Heidi Brown, that's enough. What nonsense are you spouting? I shrugged. With that level of intelligence, did she really think she could compete with me? I pried open the big guy's fingers one by one and said nonchalantly, see, she doesn't agree. Humiliated and enraged, the big guy grabbed my sleeve and shoved me away with such force that the impractical high-end gown's sleeve tore right off. I stumbled backward several steps, knocking over a row of wine tables, sending crystal glasses filled with various juices and drinks crashing to the ground in a cacophony of shattering glass. Lying in the center, my skirt soaked through, I casually tore the floor-length dress into a short skirt, revealing the ugly scars I had carefully concealed. Apart from my face and neck, there wasn't a patch of unblemished skin larger than a palm on my entire body. The hall erupted in gasps. How could someone so young have so many horrifying scars? I raised an eyebrow at Luna and smirked triumphantly. My birth mother was the first to break down, tears streaming as she pulled me into her arms. My daughter, how much suffering have you endured? Woo-woo. A flicker of astonishment flashed in Charles's eyes. While my wealthy father's frown was deep enough to crush a mosquito, I patted my biological mother on the back and handed her over to Charles. I didn't want to bring this up originally, but since things have escalated to this point, I'll take advantage of today's banquet to ask Mom and Dad for one thing. I hope you'll sue Daisy Campbell. All these injuries on me are evidence. Moreover, I can recount the origin of every single scar. This one, Daisy Campbell hit me with an ashtray after losing at cards. This large patch, Daisy Campbell set her dog on me. This one on my leg that took 18 stitches. Daisy Campbell broke my leg with a wooden stick. And this one here. Most of these distinguished guests and their relatives have heard my story, but they don't know my experiences. Seeing the shocking scars covering my body, they all expressed outrage on my behalf, their eyes like daggers piercing the Luna standing behind me, utterly inhuman. What kind of monster could inflict such severe harm on a child? She's practically a devil, unworthy of being called human. She must face legal punishment. I can't bear to watch anymore. It's too tragic. I don't know how this little girl managed to survive. Woo-woo. The wealthy father stepped out from the crowd with a guilty expression. Heidi, stop talking. I obediently closed my mouth. I didn't want to bring up those painful memories again either. Every time I recall them, it feels like being sliced to death slowly. This should probably be the last time I mention it. The butler promptly saw the party guests out, and then it was time to close the doors and discuss how to handle the matter. To my surprise, the three of them unanimously decided not to sue Daisy Campbell. My wealthy father was the first to speak. Heidi, we will compensate you for your grievances, but as for suing Daisy Campbell, let's just drop it. My heart sank, and I turned to my birth mother. Is this what you think too? My biological mother, who had just cried her eyes red, now gritted her teeth and nodded. Heidi, what goes around comes around. Daisy Campbell will pay for what she's done, please. Don't make things harder for us and Luna anymore, okay? I slumped onto the sofa with a bitter smile. Can I at least know the reason? All three of them cast pitying, affectionate gazes at Luna simultaneously. Charles, who had remained silent until now, sat down beside me and spoke earnestly. Heidi, if we sue Daisy Campbell, she will definitely go to jail, and that would have a terrible impact on Luna's future. Luna grew up under our care, she's considerate, filial, and intelligent. We truly can't bear to see her future ruined because of that beast of a biological mother. We will also love you twice as much from now on. Can you understand the good intentions of your parents and brother? Faced with such emotional blackmail, I found myself at a loss for words. I wasn't heartbroken by their doting on Luna. They scolded me for being unreliable, but I wasn't heartbroken. Yet when I revealed the scars I'd earned with my life, and they refused to hold the abuser accountable, my heart turned to ashes. I stood up weakly, letting out a faint scoff. I understand, but I still have to remind you, I've fought with people, competed with dogs for food. My temper isn't the best, so keep an eye on Luna. As long as she doesn't provoke me first, I have no interest in making trouble for anyone. As for Daisy Campbell, I must make her pay. If you won't act, then I'll handle it myself. With the college entrance exams approaching, I must give it my all. Only by relying on myself can I break free from this suffocating cage of darkness. Every day before returning to the villa, I visit Grandma Lucy. She had surgery. Thank heavens, it went well, and the caregiver is taking excellent care of her. Back at the villa, apart from meals, I spent most of my time in my room reviewing my studies. It was another weekend. My biological parents and brother were invited to a banquet, leaving only me and Luna at home. I studied until 8 o'clock. Feeling a bit thirsty, so I went downstairs to get a glass of water. Just as I was heading upstairs to return to my room, Luna stopped me. Heidi Brown, stop. Ever since the Brown family sided with her last time, stating they wouldn't pursue Daisy Campbell, Luna didn't even bother pretending in front of me anymore. No more crying or self-deprecation. She spoke to me with the tone of the Brown family's eldest daughter. I rolled my eyes at her and walked straight into the house. At this moment, the nanny passed by downstairs, and Luna immediately changed her expression. Sister, since Mom and Dad aren't home, could you chat with me for a while? If I leave too abruptly and the Brown family finds out, they'll say I lack manners again. Besides, I'm also curious to know what new malicious tricks she's come up with after all these weeks. I clicked my tongue at the auntie downstairs, and she looked up, calling out, Eldest miss, second miss, auntie, could you come up here for a moment? The auntie came up and stood against the wall, between me and Luna. I smiled faintly. Auntie, I need you to be my witness, just in case someone decides to grab my hand and throw themselves down the stairs, then falsely accuse me of pushing them. The aunt was stunned, looking at us with a head full of question marks. Luna was like a little thief whose thoughts had been exposed, her face changing colors in rapid succession. I scoffed. All right, what do you want to talk about? Go ahead. Luna glared at the nanny in annoyance. Auntie, step back and keep watch. I need to have a few private words with my sister. Auntie only moved a bit further away after seeing me nod. Luna flashed a triumphant smile. Sis, which school are you aiming for? I'd better steer clear in advance. Definitely won't go to the same one as you. Don't worry. The school I'm attending is out of your league. Luna's face darkened, her tone icy and haughty. Heidi Brown, what's so great about having good grades? It's not like your parents love you anyway, and to think you're their biological daughter, you're not even as carefree as me, the one they mistakenly brought home. She successfully provoked me, and I glared at her through gritted teeth. Seizing the moment, Luna added, Heidi Brown, I'll tell you one more thing, but you mustn't tell Mom, okay? Seeing me speechless with anger, she was utterly pleased with herself. Actually, Dad has known about your existence all along. He just didn't want to acknowledge you. Do you know why? I gritted my teeth. What did you say? Because he knew that living in such an environment, you've already rotted to the core. Even if you were brought back, you couldn't be fixed, so it's better to just give up on you. Every word struck right at my heart, and I was so furious that I picked up my cup and splashed water in her face. She lowered her head, then raised her eyes with a sinister smile, sending a chill down my spine. My dear sister, you've fallen right into my trap. With that, she collapsed to the ground, covering her face and rolling around while screaming incessantly, my face, help, help, sister, why did you splash wine on me? You know I'm allergic to alcohol. Call an ambulance, call an ambulance. At that moment, the Brown family members attending the banquet entered together, just in time to witness everything. Charles immediately rushed over in a few strides and picked up Luna. Her hands loosened, revealing a face covered in red rashes. The wealthy father rushed over and scolded the nanny, demanding to know what had happened. The nanny didn't know what we had said, only that I had splashed water in Luna's face. The wealthy father snatched my cup, sniffed it, and immediately glared at me. "Why is there alcohol in the cup?" Before I could explain, he raised his hand and slapped me hard, shattering the glass, and shattering my heart along with it. My head snapped to the side, the taste of blood lingering on my tongue. He roared at me in fury, "You're truly rotten to the core. I never should have brought you back." It took me 2 seconds to react. What Luna had just said was actually true. My birth mother was crying her heart out, even more devastated than the day she saw the wounds on my body. "Heidi Brown, how could you be so cruel? Did you learn nothing of the upbringing we gave you, only inheriting Daisy Campbell's viciousness?" Charles glared at me with such hatred, as if he wished he could stab me, then gritted his teeth and carried Luna to the hospital. The once noisy mansion instantly fell into an eerie silence, so the glass had been tampered with after all. Watching the farce come to an end, I suppressed my anger and smiled silently. Luna provoked me with those words precisely because she wanted me to splash her, so I simply obliged. She must think her scheme is perfect, having won another round, and can even kick me out of the Brown family, but how could she know that it was she who set me up, and not me waiting to strike from behind? I've prepared quite a surprise for them. The next day, I went to school as usual, and even the driver looked at me with resentment. Luna excels in her studies, is well-mannered, and humbly seeks her brother's advice, which satisfies his vanity of being admired and meets her parents' expectations of an ideal child. That's why the Brown family adores her. Even the butler, nanny, and chauffeur are fond of her. If her carefully crafted facade were exposed, would they still like and support her? I'd love to see that scene. It would be quite amusing, wouldn't it? That evening, I went to visit Grandma Lucy as usual. Even considering staying overnight at the hospital, that home made me feel suffocated. Grandma Lucy didn't know what had happened, only that I had reunited with my wealthy parents and could live a stable life from now on. At this, she couldn't help but secretly shed tears. "You won't have to suffer anymore. Grandma is so happy for you." Holding her hand, I whispered, "Grandma, once I get into university, I'll take you away from here. I'll take care of you." Grandma Lucy was so overjoyed she couldn't close her mouth, eagerly pushing me to go back. Returning to the villa, the Brown family sat in the living room with grave expressions, clearly waiting for me. Seeing me enter, the wealthy father said sternly to the butler, "Bring out the family discipline." The butler respectfully presented a reddish-brown short whip. I was stunned for a moment as Charles forced me to kneel on the ground. The wealthy father looked stern. "Heidi Brown, do you admit your mistake? I did nothing wrong. You're trying to hit me without even hearing my side. How is that any different from that bastard Daisy Campbell?" "Hit her," the butler apologized, then lashed me across the back with a whip. I gritted my teeth and stifled a groan, feeling as if my back was about to split open. The pain was excruciating. After a few breaths, I steadied myself and straightened my spine. "I did nothing wrong. I poured plain water." "Why, there was alcohol." "You should ask Luna." My birth mother knelt beside me, sobbing. "Heidi, just apologize to your father and make amends with Luna. Let this matter pass." "Okay, I'm not wrong. Keep hitting." Slap slap. I clenched my teeth tightly, not letting out a sound, but couldn't withstand the searing pain and collapsed to the ground, gasping heavily. I murmured in anguish, "Is this what you call loving me twice as much?" My wealthy father crouched before me, his eyes filled with indifference. "You can return to school only when you're ready to apologize to Luna. Fortunately, Luna is out of danger and unharmed. Otherwise, I'd have beaten you to death." With those words, he turned and left without a backward glance. Charles didn't want to spare me another glance either, following his father into Luna's room upstairs. My biological mother helped me up, placed me on the sofa, instructed the maid to apply medicine to my wounds, and then left in tears. I had originally planned to give them a surprise after the college entrance exams, but clearly, they couldn't wait any longer. I sat on the sofa all night. The Brown family members helped Luna downstairs for breakfast, treating me as if I didn't exist. I shuffled dejectedly to the dining table and said to my wealthy father, "Dad, I know I was wrong." My wealthy father still wore a cold expression. "You should apologize to Luna." "I know, and I've come to realize that if I'm going to apologize, I should do it sincerely. I want to hold a press conference in your name to properly apologize to my sister Luna and praise her for being magnanimous and forgiving despite our past conflicts. At the same time, I'll make a public commitment to get along harmoniously with my sister and everyone else from now on. I spoke with utmost sincerity, almost moved by my own words. The wealthy father looked at me in surprise, nodding only after a long pause. The return of the Brown family's heiress to her roots is a significant event. So far, only those who attended the last banquet know about it. We should hold a press conference to announce it to the public, which would also greatly benefit the company's reputation. My birth mother pulled me to sit down, smiling warmly and saying, "That's my good girl." Luna gave me a provocative glance, flashing a triumphant smile. At Luna's insistence, the press conference was held the day after she recovered. At this point, there were only 10 days left until the college entrance exams. That day, reporters big and small, along with attention-seeking influencers, packed the conference room. The meeting was chaired by Charles, with my biological parents sitting in the audience. Beaming with smiles, Luna sat on the stage, smiling and waving to the reporters. Striking various poses for photos, I stood beside her, expressionless. My eyes fixed on the conference room door. Only when the familiar, trembling figure of Daisy Campbell appeared in my line of sight did I finally let out a long sigh of relief. Since everyone has arrived, I signaled that we could begin. Charles was quite diplomatic in his speech, first introducing my identity as the eldest daughter of the Brown family, then casually mentioning the mix-up at birth. After rambling on for half an hour, he finally got to today's main topic. Charles handed the microphone to me and went to sit with his parents in the audience. I took a deep breath and, under the hopeful gazes of my biological parents, began to speak. "Good morning, dear journalists and distinguished guests. Standing here today, returning to my roots is a minor matter. What's more important is to apologize to the sister who has enjoyed 17 years of luxury in my stead. As you all know, we were accidentally switched at birth, right below the stage." Numerous camera flashes lit up, all aimed at me and Luna. Why apologize? Because despite knowing my dear sister is allergic to alcohol, I still splashed her with wine, leading to her emergency treatment and nearly costing her life. The audience gasped in shock. My dad already disciplined me with the family rules. The wealthy father in the audience suddenly paled. Of course. It's not that he doesn't love me, he just can't bear to see this sister who replaced me suffer even the slightest grievance. An awkward silence. Ha ha ha, just kidding. The atmosphere livened up again. My dad simply doesn't love me at all. The expressions of the Brown family members grew increasingly grim. An awkward silence filled the room, as if a flock of crows had flown overhead. Let's get back on track. I'm about to begin today's topic. To boost my courage, please give me 10 seconds. From the corner of the stage, I pulled out a bottle of baijiu I had prepared in advance, unscrewed the cap, and stepped onto the stage. I'll take a sip of wine to boost my courage. After all, it's my first time doing something like this. Gulp, gulp. The Brown family members all turned pale. Standing in front of Luna, I solemnly said to her, "Luna, I was wrong to splash you with watered-down wine last time, so I apologize. I'm sorry." Luna held her head high, adopting the posture of accepting a weakling's surrender, and was about to speak, but I didn't give her the chance, interrupting her. "So this time, I've prepared some baijiu, not a drop of water mixed in. Give it a try." With that, ignoring the loud reprimands from the Brown family, I raised my hand and poured the entire bottle of wine over Luna's head. Luna's screams echoed through the conference room. "Call an ambulance! Call an ambulance!" the wealthy father shouted frantically. Disregarding all decorum, following the lead of the Brown family members, everyone descended into chaos. Watching their panicked commotion, I burst into laughter while my calm voice came through the phone. "Dad, you've been fooled by Daisy Campbell. See, isn't your precious daughter perfectly fine?" Luna froze in her seat, motionless, but the expected allergic reaction never came. The Brown family members also stared at Luna in shock. They exchanged glances for so long that it seemed as if time had stopped. Afraid they wouldn't understand, I added, "Luna isn't actually allergic to alcohol at all. That incident last time where I supposedly splashed wine on her and nearly killed her was entirely a scheme she orchestrated to frame me, with Luna herself being living proof. She couldn't defend herself no matter how hard she tried." The audience erupted in an uproar. Who would have thought someone so young could be so malicious? Willing to endanger herself just to frame others. How terrifying. Isn't someone like this just a ticking time bomb in society? I thought the Brown family had such great values, yet they raised such a heartless creature. Faced with numerous accusations, the Brown family was utterly humiliated. This was probably their most disgraceful moment. Luna's face turned as pale as paper, under the crowd's scornful gazes and mocking words. She was overwhelmed with shame. Tears streaming down her face as she sobbed uncontrollably. Charles struggled to ask, "Luna, was it really you who framed Heidi?" "Why?" The wealthy father refused to give up and rushed forward, grabbing Luna's shoulders and shaking her desperately. "Why aren't you allergic? Why don't you have an allergy?" Watching their disgraceful behavior, I felt nothing but disgust. That was just an excuse Daisy Campbell fabricated to exploit your sympathy and trick you into choosing to raise Luna. The weak always demand more care, don't they, Dad? The wealthy father's gaze shifted between me and Luna. Then suddenly he went mad and shouted, "Liar, liar, you're all liars." Luna trembled all over, sobbing softly, "No, it's not like this, it's not like this." My biological mother finally sensed something was wrong and looked at me with fearful eyes. "Heidi, what do you mean?" "Albert Brown, you've seen Daisy Campbell again since then, haven't you? Answer me." I'm starting to feel a bit sorry for my biological mother. My dear mother, Luna was always Dad and Daisy Campbell's daughter, wasn't she? Right, Daisy Campbell. Following my gaze, everyone turned their heads to look at Daisy Campbell standing at the doorway. Her face was haggard and swollen, her eyes venomous. "You framed my daughter. I'll beat you to death, you little bastard." Daisy Campbell gnashed her teeth as she spoke, grabbing a chair and charging at me. She still thinks this is her home where she can act like a tyrant. Before she could get close to me, the security guards had already subdued her. "You little bitch, you deliberately lured me here, you harmed Luna, you deserve to die a horrible death." Everyone was stunned by this explosive news. After a brief moment of shock, they all turned their cameras toward the wealthy father and Daisy Campbell, demanding their comments on the matter. The usually composed wealthy father repeatedly lost his composure today, roughly shoving reporters aside and shouting at them to get lost. The elegant and dignified birth mother also abandoned all decorum, frantically hitting and clawing at the wealthy father like a madwoman. Charles, shedding his usual gentlemanly demeanor, violently threw Luna to the ground, causing the scene to spiral out of control. The bitterness of misplaced affection, the sting of being deceived and played. The torment of guilt and regret. None of it feels good, does it? I despise each and every one of them equally. With the two parties involved unable to provide any clear answers, the reporters turned their questions toward me. So, while they were fighting fiercely, I told the reporters a story. From the time I can remember, Daisy Campbell would go to the city every year, and each time she returned, she would beat me severely, forbidding me to call her Mom. I didn't understand why back then. But now I do. She must have seen her own daughter, Luna, getting close to my biological mother, and it made her jealous and resentful. When I was 12, I followed her to the city and saw her holding a little girl's hand, smiling with tenderness and affection. That's when I realized she wasn't always so cruel, just cruel to me. There was a man standing beside her, her wealthy father in his younger days. Daisy Campbell told him that she had raised me well and there was nothing to worry about. So the man never inquired further, but on the way back, Daisy Campbell caught me. She dragged me home and broke my leg. After that, she never went to the city again. She didn't work and spent her days playing cards. I think the man must have given her money. She said she took good care of me, but in reality, she never gave me a single cent. A sliver of doubt crept into my young mind. This woman might not be my mother, and that man might be my father. I worked hard collecting scrap, recycling waste, washing dishes, and saving every penny to secretly get a paternity test. The moment I got the results, I was overjoyed. Daisy Campbell, she really wasn't my mother. A mother would never abuse her own child. As for why Daisy Campbell became pregnant with my father's child, I really don't know. I finished recounting my experience nonchalantly, only to look up and see several journalists wiping away tears. Major news outlets and online short videos rushed to report on the dramatic saga of love and hate within the wealthy Brown family. The Brown family became infamous overnight. The parents got divorced and became strangers, because the wealthy father's behavior damaged the company's reputation and severely harmed its interests. Several shareholders joined forces to oust him. All his assets were used to cover the company's losses, leaving the once wealthy father with nothing. The poor father's temperament changed drastically, becoming extremely irritable. When he took Luna away from the villa, he would frequently beat and kick her, calling her a jinx. Daisy Campbell was sued by my biological mother and will likely never touch mahjong again in her lifetime, which is worse than killing her. Later, I successfully got into my dream university. Luna didn't even take the college entrance exam. I moved out of the villa and found a quiet neighborhood to live in with Grandma Lucy. Before school started, my biological mother and brother found me, apologized several times, and invited me to come home, but I refused each time. A shattered crystal glass can never be restored, and neither can a broken heart. My mother wept endlessly, knowing she could never make it up to me, and simply kept transferring money to my bank account. I accepted it with a clear conscience. And apart from normal expenses, I didn't squander it. Once I graduate and find a job, I'll return this last tie between us to her. From then on, we owe each other nothing. On the first day of school, I happily headed to the train station with Grandma Lucy and my few belongings, ready to embrace my new life. Keep going, and the future is promising. I believe I will get better and better. After hearing the first story above, what are your thoughts? Feel free to share your opinions in the comments section. Next, there is another similar story. Let's continue to see. I am the mute true heiress who was recognized and brought back to the wealthy family. The fake heiress bullied me for not being able to speak and even framed me for pushing her down the stairs in front of the young master of the capital's elite circle. Frantically, I used sign language to defend myself to the young master, yet he remained cold and silent. His brows furrowed with unmistakable impatience. His accomplices burst into laughter. Look at this mute waving her hands around. How stupid. The next moment, I grabbed the crown prince by the collar and yanked him up from his chair. Though I can't speak, I sure know how to throw a punch. What are you doing? Qin Duchuan was suddenly grabbed by me, his peach blossom eyes flashing with anger. His knuckles clearly defined as he tightly gripped my wrist. His so-called friends even started jeering. Oh, the mute dares to make a move. Haha, the fake heiress, Lin Yanyan, covered her mouth in fright and exclaimed, Oh my, sister, what are you doing? I know you're from the countryside and haven't learned manners, but this is too much. Let go of brother Qin right now. Qin Duchuan stared at me coldly, his eyes filled with warning. Count to 3, let go. His voice was icy, and the strength in his hand grew stronger. I never hit women. This is your last chance. I ignored him. I grabbed his collar tightly and refused to let go, dragging him toward the stairs. Crazy woman, Qin Duchuan narrowed his eyes, his grip suddenly tightening. I didn't flinch, my step steady as a rock, my hold on his collar unyielding. Qin Duchuan froze. The surrounding crowd, unaware of the situation, continued their noisy chatter. Ha, young Master Qin, what are you doing? Still holding her hand. Wow, young Master Qin has bold tastes, daring to make a move like this. What a bargain for this mute girl. Young Master Qin must be tired of refinement and wants to taste something rustic. Listening to their teasing, both Qin Duchuan and Lin Yanyan's expressions turned grim. Lin Yanyan stared at Qin Duchuan's hand gripping mine, her face full of jealousy, convinced he was just playing with me. After all, rumors in their circle claimed Qin Duchuan knew martial arts. With a man's strength, letting go shouldn't have been an issue. He felt embarrassed and increased the strength in his grip. He twisted my wrist with force. An ordinary person would have bruises on their wrist from such a squeeze, yet my hand remained firmly clutching his collar, without even a twitch of my brow. Qin Duchuan was completely bewildered. I dragged Qin Duchuan by the collar while steadily climbing the stairs. He sensed trouble but didn't call for help to save face. Once we were a distance away from the crowd downstairs, he gritted his teeth and whispered, Woman, you've certainly caught my attention. Before I could finish speaking, I suddenly let go and delivered a fierce kick. Qin Duchuan let out a pained ouch and tumbled down the stairs. The entire room fell silent in an instant. Everyone stared blankly, utterly bewildered. He was bleeding from his head, got up and angrily shouted, Are you crazy? I calmly walked downstairs and pulled Lin Yanyan over. She screamed in fear, What are you doing? I dragged Lin Yanyan in front of Qin Duchuan, pointed at her unharmed face, and signed to him, See clearly now, this is what someone truly pushed downstairs looks like. Do you still think I was the one who pushed her? Both of them froze in shock. Qin Duchuan remained silent, so I converted sign language into text and used my phone to have AI read it aloud. Finally, he understood. Clutching the wound on his head, he hesitated to speak. I quickly typed out the words and had the AI recite them again. You ignored my sign language with arrogance, and when you closed your eyes, life and death were uncertain. Just because I don't speak doesn't mean I'm weak. I'm no delicate little flower. I've got strength and skills, and beating you would be a piece of cake. Qin Duchuan was speechless. who knew someone who couldn't talk could be so loud at this moment. Several of Qin Duchuan's lackeys couldn't stand it any longer and quickly surrounded me, eager to show off in front of Qin Duchuan. A group of tall men rolled up their sleeves and aggressively closed in on me. Don't think just because young Master Qin doesn't hit women that you can act wild. Mute, kneel down and apologize now. Young Master Qin has manners, but we don't share that gentleness. Young Master Qin, can we have some fun with this mute? Such a fierce mute is rare. Playing with her would be a unique experience. Haha, Lin Yanyan feigned concern from the side, saying, she is still a girl, after all, don't be like this, yet made no real effort to stop them. Qin Duchuan sat by, watching coldly. As the men approached, I narrowed my eyes slightly and flexed my wrists. The game has only just begun. I am the lost true heiress of the Li family. Adopted by a simple rural couple, they wished for me to grow up healthy and strong. Naming me Su Dali, though not wealthy, my adoptive parents cherished me as their own life. I was born mute, which made them even more cautious, fearing I might be bullied. My mother had a master teach me martial arts from a young age. As the saying goes, when God closes a door, he opens a window. I don't believe in God, but I do have a natural talent for martial arts. Probably the name carried some magic. At 15, I could devour over 30 buns in one go and punch through the big willow tree by the gate. At 16, while swimming in the sea, I encountered a shark. With a casual kick, I flipped it belly up. At 17, I sneaked into the mountains, played with bear cubs, and even wrestled with their mother, having the time of my life. But for some reason, the mother bear whimpered and fled at the sight of me, even abandoning her cub. I couldn't catch up no matter how hard I tried. Later, while sparring with my master, I accidentally injured his waist. To treat my master's injury, I had no choice but to go down the mountain to raise money. Hearing that the Li family was the wealthiest in the area, I decided to stage an accident at their doorstep. Who would have thought that the Li couple would discover I bore an uncanny resemblance to them? After a DNA test, they confirmed I was their long-lost biological daughter. The fake heiress, Lin Yanyan, had enjoyed years of wealth and privilege. Now, learning that I had taken everything from her, she began scheming against me at every turn, trying to drive me out of the Li family. But I had my sights set on the Li family's power. It could help cure my master's illness. So I refused to leave. No matter what, the battle had only just begun. Within 10 minutes, all the people sent by Qin Duchuan were beaten by me until their arms and legs were broken. Screaming incessantly, the more I fought, the more excited I became. While jumping around to warm up, I typed on my phone and had the AI read aloud. Who else? I scanned the crowd, and whoever met my gaze immediately retreated in fear. At that moment, my sign language interpreter, Suehua, the elder sister I grew up with in the village, rushed over and hurriedly pulled me aside to check on me. Someone stopped me at the banquet entrance just now and wouldn't let me in no matter what. I barely managed to sneak in. Are you okay? Did anyone bully you? I shook my head and signed to her. No, they just ignored me. What? Suehua's eyes widened in anger as she turned to the crowd and shouted, my sister has been mute since childhood. She's weak and pitiful. My mom didn't trust me to come alone, so I brought her with me. How could a bunch of men bully a helpless mute girl? Disgusting. Everyone was speechless. Let's go home. We don't have to put up with this. Suehua angrily grabbed me, ready to leave. But I smiled and signed, we're already here. Let's stay. Then she turned around and flashed a sharp smile at Lin Yanyan, signing, please take care of me from now on, little sister. Lin Yanyan immediately trembled all over, a chill running down her spine. It almost seemed as if she were the one being bullied. I insisted on staying, and Suehua respected my decision, moving into the Li household with me. The next day, the Li family arranged for us to attend the elite school together. Originally, they planned to send me to a special needs school, but Lin Yanyan insisted. She can't speak, but her hearing and intelligence are fine. With today's advanced technology, AI voice synthesis can fully enable her to attend classes like any other child. With innocent eyes, she looked at her parents and said, we shouldn't treat her differently just because she can't speak. People like her need to be treated as normal individuals even more. The Li parents found her reasoning convincing, nodded in agreement, and even praised Lin Yanyan for her thoughtfulness and consideration. Little did they know, this was precisely Lin Yanyan's scheme. Along the way, she appeared kind on the surface, but her eyes betrayed her calculations. Sure enough, upon arriving at school, after she introduced me as her sister, the surrounding classmates immediately showed contempt. Li Nianyan smiled triumphantly. The students at this elite school all come from wealthy or privileged families, though superficially polite. They harbor deep contempt for those from lower social strata. I wore the same school uniform as her, but my long years of rural life left me with dark, rough skin and a strong rustic air. These became the reasons they mocked me. Moreover, these second-generation rich kids all had powerful family backing. If I had acted out at the banquet like that, I would have fallen right into Li Nianyan's trap. She wanted me to cause trouble at school, prompting the other parents to confront the Li family, disappointing my parents, and getting me kicked out, all while she fanned the flames. If I didn't fight back, she would use these rich kids to keep bullying me until I left on my own. In high society, torment rarely requires bloodshed. A triumphant expression appeared on Li Nianyan's face. Sure enough, a classmate was the first to mock me. She walked up to me, waved her hand disdainfully near her nose, and asked sarcastically, "Nian, is this really your sister? You look nothing alike. She's ugly and has a weird smell." Once she started, the other rich kids joined in attacking me. How can her skin be so rough? It's so dark. Must be a failed tanning attempt, right? Look at her hair. So many split ends, naturally curly, so messy, so disgusting. She has to wear an extra-large school uniform. Isn't she going to lose weight being this fat? Malicious words came from all directions, but I just sat quietly, completely ignoring them. Their childish attacks don't warrant a response. Seeing my indifference, a female classmate grew even bolder and slapped me across the face. "Hey, I'm talking to you, no manners." Not gonna respond. She was wearing a large diamond ring with sharp edges, which left a cut on my face. I frowned and looked up at her. The other person was startled by the aura I was emitting, their expression changing slightly. Li Nianyan's eyes immediately lit up. She was the heiress of the Tao group. Tao Ran, the Dao group is as large as the Li family, a listed giant. If I make an enemy of her, I'll be in real trouble. "Oh, you still dare to glare at me." Tao Ran was stunned for a moment but quickly snapped back to reality, pointing at me with full arrogance. "Do you know who my father is? My dad is. Hey, what are you doing?" I calmly raised my hand and pinched the pigeon egg-sized diamond ring on her finger. With just a snap, the diamond shattered under my bare hands. The entire room fell silent in an instant. Everyone knows full well that a real diamond would never break so easily. If a girl can snap it in half with her bare hands, it's definitely a fake. At best, it's just glass or plastic. The attention shifted from me, and Taoran instantly became the center of attention. Everyone's eyes were filled with suspicion. Did Tao Ran bring a fake diamond to school? Has his family gone bankrupt? Tao Ran was stunned. She opened her mouth, staring blankly at the diamond ring shattered into 3 pieces on the table. "Let me compensate," she muttered in her heart. It must be a fake diamond. Anger surged within her, yet she didn't know how to vent it. After a 3-second disconnection, she quickly pulled out her phone and dialed a number. "Hello, Aunt Zhang. What have you done? Saying you didn't switch the ring is a lie. I'll go back and call the police." As the call ended, she looked up to find everyone tactfully avoiding her gaze, sparing her the embarrassment. "Why are you all making that face?" Tao Ran grew even more embarrassed and indignant. "It's true, I didn't know it had been swapped. How could I possibly bring a fake one?" We believe you, Tao Ran." The girl beside her awkwardly smiled and patted her shoulder, seeming to understand the situation. "Forget it." Tao Ran's face darkened with anger as she turned and sat down abruptly, slamming her book on the table. I watched coldly, a faint smile playing at the corner of my lips. I had intended to scare her, but the situation took an unexpected turn. Forget it. It was unexpectedly resolved perfectly. Then, I glanced at Li Nianyan and provocatively winked. "Little one, what else have you got?" Li Nianyan was left speechless. "Oh, sister, the weather is so nice today." I thought Li Nianyan would keep quiet after this incident. Unexpectedly, she started making a fuss again during dinner. "Mom, my face is so itchy." Li Nianyan ran crying to her mother. "Call Dr. Chen for me." "What's going on?" Mother Li frowned deeply, her heart aching as she stared at the red rash on her daughter's face. "An allergic reaction. You're only allergic to alcohol, and we've been very careful at home. Nothing with alcohol. Did you eat something you shouldn't have?" "No." Li Nianyan's eyes were slightly red as she stole a glance at me. "When I went home with my sister, she said my face was dirty and wiped it with a wet wipe. This one." She pulled out a wet wipe. Mother Li sniffed it, and her expression changed abruptly. "This is an alcohol wipe. She glared at me angrily. Lily, didn't I tell you, Nian is allergic to alcohol. You must never use anything containing alcohol on her. How could you be so careless? Mom, don't blame sister. She probably didn't mean to. Lin Yanyan tugged at her mother's sleeve, a sly glimmer flashing in her eyes. Su Dolly, this time you're done for. At school you can bully people with brute force, but let's see how you handle things at home. You can't possibly hit your own mother, can you? I stood quietly, waiting for Lin Yanyan to finish her performance before turning to leave. Mother Li's face darkened. Lily, Mom is talking to you. What exactly do you want? Lin Yanyan beamed with joy and gently persuaded, Mom, don't blame sister, maybe she doesn't like me, but I'll try my best to make her like me. Mother Li was furious and shouted at me, Lily, stop, go back and apologize to your sister. I ignored her and kept walking. Li's mother's face grew increasingly grim, while Lin Yanyan couldn't help but curl her lips into a smile. Finally, Li's mother rushed over, grabbed my arm, and scolded me sternly, Lily, it's one thing for you to treat me this way, but how can you treat your sister like this? The baby mix-up wasn't her fault. I sighed, turned to Li's mother, and typed on my phone, using AI to read aloud. I'm going to find something, Li's mother asked in confusion. What thing? At this moment, Sister Tsuehua hurried downstairs, shouting, coming, coming. I looked at Sister Tsuehua and nodded with a smile. This is it, Auntie. Sister Tsuehua handed the phone to Aunt Li, with a video playing on the screen. On the screen, Lin Yanyan wipes her face with a wet wipe in the bathroom at home. Soon, she notices red rashes appearing on her face in the mirror and smiles with satisfaction. As soon as the video is released, Lin Yanyan's face turns pale instantly. What on earth is going on? Mother Li watched the video and turned to Lin Yanyan with confusion. Then, she suddenly thought of something and turned to question me. You actually installed surveillance cameras at home. Lin Yanyan also found a reason to counterattack and chimed in, yeah, sis, putting cameras in the bathroom is way too much. What are you trying to do? I lowered my head to type on my phone and activated the AI voice. If it weren't for the cameras, how could we explain what happened today? Upon hearing this, Li's mother and Lin Yanyan immediately fell silent. After a long pause, Li's mother finally spoke. But installing a camera in the bathroom isn't appropriate either. Take it down immediately. Then, she suddenly remembered something else and asked me, by the way, what did you say you were looking for earlier? Smiling, I typed a line on my phone and turned up the AI volume. Lin Yanyan's face. Instantly, the expressions of both mother and daughter turned extremely unpleasant. Lin Yanyan was left speechless and could only run away in tears. Mother Li awkwardly forced a smile and explained to Lin Yanyan, Lily, your sister was indeed wrong, but she lacks a sense of security. I'll go talk to her. You two should get along well. With that, she hurriedly left. I let out a soft sigh, a mocking smile curling at the corners of my lips as I lowered my head to text Lin Yanyan. Didn't expect that. Your big sis isn't just good at fighting, she's got brains too. After having her traps dismantled effortlessly by me twice in a row. Lin Yanyan was visibly drained the next day when we went to school together, but the moment we stepped into the classroom, her face lit up again, just because the first thing she saw was my desk covered with sanitary pads, piled with trash, and scrawled with obscene graffiti and insulting words. The classmates in the room ignored our entrance, keeping their heads down to read, but I noticed a few people secretly smirking at the corners of their mouths. Good heavens, who did this? Lin Yanyan pretended to be surprised, covered her mouth, and exclaimed, pulling me along as she said, Sister, don't be sad or impulsive, let's go find the teacher. I glanced at her and surprisingly nodded in agreement. Seeing my consent, Lin Yanyan's expression turned slightly strange, unable to figure out what I was planning, but she still accompanied me to fetch the teacher. The teacher surveyed the scene and roughly understood the situation but didn't want to stir up trouble. Merely saying calmly, go get a desk from the next classroom, I stared at the teacher, typing on my phone as the AI announced, Teacher, is this desk abandoned? The teacher didn't understand my intention and nodded impatiently. Of course, do you still want to use this desk? I nodded, walked over to the graffiti-covered desk, raised my hand, and smashed it hard. With a loud crash, the desk shattered into pieces. The room fell into dead silence. I looked up, typed on my phone, and asked with an AI-generated smile, Teacher, may I handle this desk on my own? The teacher, startled, fell to the ground, glasses askew, staring at me in shock before finally stammering, why yes, of course, still smiling, I used the AI to say, "Then let me put on a little show for everyone." With that, I grabbed a table leg, folded it left and right, then in half again, and with a single-handed squeeze, the metal leg crumpled in my grasp like paper. The students were dumbfounded. All mockery vanished, their eyes filled with terror. I picked up another table leg and repeated the motion. With each fold, the tension in the classroom grew thicker. All 4 table legs were crumpled into wrinkled balls. With a smile on my face, I walked out of the classroom, ready to move a new table. As I passed by the teacher, he suddenly woke up, hurriedly stood, wiped his sweat, and bent down, saying, "No need, I'll move it for you. Please rest first." I nodded with a smile and thanked him in sign language. While the teacher was away from the classroom, I turned around and made a throat-slitting gesture to my classmates. Everyone immediately understood, their faces growing even more terrified. After a long pause, one person tremblingly pointed at Taoran. "She's the one who broke your desk." I tried to stop her, but she insisted. "What did you say?" Taoran glared at the person and shouted, "Do you not want to continue studying here anymore?" As soon as the words left her mouth, she realized that, given the current situation, not staying in school might actually be what the other person wanted. Suddenly, a faint sound of footsteps reached my ears. She turned her head stiffly, seeing me approach slowly with a smile. Tao Ran stood up in fright, backing away continuously. "Don't come any closer, I'm warning you. My father is the chairman of Tao Group. If you dare touch me, my father will never let you off." His mouth issued threats, but his legs trembled uncontrollably. I advanced step by step, and she retreated step by step. In the end, Taoran had nowhere to escape, her back against the wall. She watched me approach step by step, her face revealing unprecedented vulnerability for the first time. "No, I can give you money, we can talk this out." Before she could finish speaking, I suddenly swung my arm and punched the wall beside her. With a thunderous crash, the wall shattered into a gaping hole. Her pupils contracted sharply, her face turned deathly pale, and her body slumped weakly against the wall. After a long while, she covered her face and began to sob uncontrollably. From then on, I became famous overnight, and no one in the class dared to yell at me again. Li Nian has been quiet these days, as if sensing a threat to her life. But during dinner, I noticed the atmosphere was off again. I stared at the rice in my bowl, my hand frozen mid-air. Motherly asked with concern, "Lily, why aren't you eating? Doesn't it suit your taste?" I shook my head and made a few hand gestures. Sister Tsuehua frowned and blurted out, "My sister says there's poison in the food." "What?" Mother Li's face changed instantly, but she couldn't quite believe it. "Aunt Lu made this. How could there be poison?" I turned to look at her and typed on my phone. "Then you eat it." Mother hesitated immediately, her gaze sweeping toward Nanny Lu. Nanny Lu's eyes welled up with tears as she said plaintively, "Madam, perhaps the dishes I made don't suit the young lady's taste. I'll go and make them again." Just as she was about to take the food away, I grabbed her wrist. Without a word, I picked up a piece of meat from my plate and held it to her lips. Nanny Lu immediately turned pale, understanding my implication. I'm allergic to pork. I can't eat it. "Miss, please don't make this difficult for me." She lowered her head, her eyes evasive. I smiled and offered her a piece of greens instead. Aunt Lu grew even more nervous, beads of sweat forming on her forehead. "I'll go remake it." I stood up, grabbed her chin, and reached out to force the dish into her mouth. "Ugh, no." She struggled desperately, but she was no match for me. Just as the greens were about to reach her lips, she suddenly collapsed to her knees, weeping uncontrollably. "It was me. I'm sorry, madam. I'm sorry, miss. I poisoned the food." Motherly angrily demanded, "Why would you do such a thing?" Nanny Lu looked up, her eyes filled with envy. "I was jealous of the young miss. We both came from humble beginnings. Why could she rise to greatness while I could only serve her?" Motherly was shocked. "You poisoned for this reason. You've been with our family for over a decade. How could you be such a person?" Nanny Lu remained silent, tears streaming uncontrollably. In the end, Motherly reported the incident to the police. Attempted murder carries a sentence of 3 to 10 years. When I saw off Aunt Lu, she still didn't understand how I had discovered the poison in the food. Actually, I grew up in the mountains, where my master taught me martial arts as well as knowledge of traditional Chinese medicine. I have a keen sense of smell and can detect even the slightest unusual odor. This time, it was thanks to this ability, or I would have been done for. At this thought, I sighed softly, my expression turning grave. Things were no longer child's play. real danger had begun. My premonition was indeed correct. After a period of calm, one day as I was walking home alone, I felt someone following me. I'm not afraid. But today I feel inexplicably nervous inside. My intuition keeps urging, run. I frown and walk quickly, trying to avoid the other person, but his tracking skills are so adept that I can't shake him off no matter what. A dangerous presence was gradually approaching. I've never felt so terrified before. Every hair stood on end, with only one scream echoing in my mind, run. Not even when I fought the bear was I this tense. I frowned and started jogging. He also sped up to keep pace. I sprinted, turned around, ready to throw a sudden punch, only to collide head-on with a dark figure. Put your hands up, little girl. He was wearing a mask, sunglasses, and a hat, shrouded in shadows, exuding a menacing aura, clearly a professional hitman. Helpless, I had no choice but to comply, slowly raising my hands. It's remote here, but still within the city limits. Firing a gun would definitely cause a commotion. Clearly, he didn't intend to finish me off on the spot. He pressed the gun against my back, forcing me to walk toward a designated location. I slowed my pace while desperately trying to think of a way to escape. With a gun pressed against me, even the most capable person would find it hard to break free. I tried to distract him, but he paid no attention, only pressing the gun but hard against my back, forcing me forward. The murderous aura around him grew stronger, signaling that we were getting closer to the target. What should I do? Cold sweat beaded on my forehead as my heart pounded rapidly, as the destination drew near. I clenched my teeth, mustered my courage, and suddenly elbowed backward with full force. With a thud, excruciating pain shot through my waist, and my body instantly went limp. Before collapsing, I vaguely thought, so this is what being shot feels like. Though I was shot, my elbow strike also knocked him down. He lay on the ground, clutching his head, trying to get up but unable to move. His confusion was clearly written on his face. How could an elbow strike be so effective? I clutched the gunshot wound on my lower back, gritted my teeth, and forced myself to stand up before walking over to kick him hard. This time, he collapsed completely, limp and powerless. Just as I let out a sigh of relief, a chill ran down my spine. Without time to think, I quickly dropped to the ground. A bullet whizzed past my scalp. I lay on the ground, cursing inwardly. They really overestimated me. They actually hired 2 assassins. I mustered all my strength to find cover and hide. I pulled out my phone and sent a desperate message to Sister Tsuehua. Someone's trying to kill me. Call the police, quick. After doing all this, I leaned against the cover, tightly clutching my wound, gasping for breath. Now, it's a matter of whose fate is stronger. Fortunately, the police arrived before the killer. Perhaps the sniper was at a long distance, and with me hiding well, the police got there first. My adoptive parents in the countryside and my master, upon hearing about my near assassination, stormed straight to the Lee family in anger. My poor daughter, my foster mother burst into tears upon seeing me, embracing me and sobbing, "You heartless monsters, my daughter has been mute since childhood, weak and helpless. Finding her birth parents should have brought her happiness, yet you actually dared to harm her like this." The master slapped his waist, glaring angrily. "This matter must be settled today, or I won't let you off." The Lee couple grew impatient and retorted, "What are you talking about? Lily is also our daughter. How could we not fight for her?" Sister Tsuhua sneered, "Humph, that's debatable. What do you mean?" The Lee couple frowned deeply. "Exactly what it sounds like." Sister Tsuhua tossed out a stack of documents, pointing coldly. "This is what I've uncovered. See for yourselves who the mastermind is." The Lee couple, half doubting, flipped through the files, and their expressions changed abruptly. "Impossible, Mrs. Lee exclaimed in shock. "How could Nyen do such a thing? You must be mistaken, or someone is framing her. How is that possible?" Sister Tsuehua retorted mercilessly. "Do you think your Nyen is a saint? Remember when she splashed alcohol on my sister's face?" Mother Lee was left speechless and hurriedly defended. "That was just a momentary lapse of judgment for Nyen. How could she possibly kill someone? Are you stupid, or do you think I am?" Sister Tsuehua snapped angrily. Why couldn't she? After the paternity test revealed she was a fake, the inheritance wouldn't go to her. With so much of the Lee family's wealth at stake, would she be willing to give it up? All the evidence of motive is right here. What more do you want? Still protecting that fake daughter, the Lee couple's faces turned ashen. The crowd fell silent. Only Sister Tsuehua's voice boomed deafeningly. "If you insist on shielding her, fine, I'll hand the evidence to the police, or escalate it to higher authorities. I refuse to believe anyone can suppress this. Justice will prevail." With that, she turned and walked away. My adoptive mother leaned over my bed and softly asked, "Sweetheart, what do you plan to do?" I smiled and said to her, "This household is full of constant turmoil. I really can't stay here any longer." Upon hearing this, my adoptive mother's eyes glistened. "Yes, sweetheart, you're right. Once you're better, we'll go home." Later, Sister Tsuehua persisted, and Ling Yanyan was finally arrested. The Li family no longer defended her. They were not related by blood, and even though they had raised her for many years, it wasn't worth protecting her after she caused such a disaster. The Lee family compensated me with a large sum of money and even transferred some of their businesses to me. I used the money to heal my master's back injury and returned to my hometown to live a leisurely life. When I become more mature, I plan to leave the mountain and start a business using the Lee family's wealth. Years later, I achieved success in my career, and the Lee couple grew old. They made a will, leaving all their property to me. From then on, a rumor spread in the business world. The new heir of the Lee family couldn't speak but was exceptionally skilled in fighting. After hearing the two stories above, what are your thoughts? Feel free to share your opinions in the comments section. Looking forward to hearing from you. If you liked this story, don't forget to like it, share it, and subscribe to my channel. See you next time.